How does Windows know if a program is not responding? How does Windows know if a program is not responding? Does it constantly keep polling all running applications?
An application gets the events from a queue provided by Windows. If the application doesn't poll the event queue for a while, 5 seconds, for example when doing a long calculation, then Windows assumes that the application is hung and alerts the user. To avoid that, applications should push expensive calculations to worker threads or split up processing and make sure the queue gets polled regularly.
How does Windows know if a program is not responding? Without the source code to Windows, we cannot be sure what it is doing internally. There is an STK Windows function IssueMap window that can be used. An application is considered to be not responding if it is not waiting for input, is not in startup processing, and has not called peak message within the internal timeout period of 5 seconds. Source IssueMap window function. If a top-level window stops responding to messages for more than several seconds, the system considers the window to be not responding. In this case, the system hides the window and replaces it with a ghost window that has the same Z order, location, size, and visual attributes. This allows the user to move it, resize it, or even close the application. However, these are the only actions available because the application is actually not responding. Source about messages and message queues. Does it constantly keep polling all running applications? No. Applications are not polled but given processor time. Windows has a scheduling system that gives processor time to application threads. The scheduling algorithm is complex, and is fully described in Windows Internals, Part 1, 6th edition, Developer Reference.
Actually, Windows doesn't always know that an application is not responding. The application has to be an interactive application with a window, and the window must be receiving messages that the application fails to process, before Windows concludes that the application is not responding. For instance, Windows has no way of knowing if a number crunching application with no user interface that is run from the command line is doing its thing, or perhaps stuck in an infinite loop. Interactive graphical applications in Windows receive events by continuously polling a message queue. Windows populates this message queue with keyboard, mouse, timer, etc. events. If an application fails to poll the message queue for some time, 5 seconds is the timeout mentioned in the isHungUp window function documentation, Windows considers the application hung, which it may indicate by changing the window title, adding the text, "not responding," or equivalent text in localized versions, and graying out the window contents if the user tries to interact with the window. Applications can hang in ways that Windows does not recognize. For instance, an application may continue polling for messages in its message queue without properly acting on them, so for all practical intents and purposes it would appear hung without Windows recognizing that it is non-responsive.
Windows is an operating system, it's supervising all running programs. Windows communicates with window-based applications using events. Every program has a thread that constantly listens for incoming events and processes them. For example, when you click a button or a notification area icon, Windows generates an event and feeds it into appropriate process. The process can then decide how to handle it. All interactions with programs are event-based in Windows, so when program doesn't process incoming events for too long, it means it doesn't respond. As at David Postil has found and noted in his answer, the timeout is 5 seconds. Peak message is the function that gets an event from event queue.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.